Now this was really damn cool to see. I'm Charles Renton with the retro review of NWA CWF Battle of the Belts 1 for September 2nd, 1985. And I'm grateful for channels like Classic Wrestling Stuff on YouTube for giving us events like this in the most complete form possible, because they're not going to make their way to Peacock anytime soon, if ever, so at least we have different sources to see what was going on in the territorial wrestling world. Because at this point, Vince McMahon was doing his national and international expansion, and the sad thing is, Florida territory, even though they drew a decent crowd for this event, well, this is 7 months after the untimely, unfortunate death of Eddie Graham, who, just built the Florida territory into a powerhouse. It was a one-state territory, hence why it was called the Florida territory. People made a really good living. Eddie Graham was known as one of the greatest minds in wrestling, but he has demons. Very, very sad. And, in a couple years, Jim Crockett Jr. would basically buy up the Florida territory. They would run shows there, but the Florida territory, as we know it, as many fans knew it, would cease to exist. So, yeah, they were in the Sundome, 7,600 people, just a capacity of just over 10,000 people for the venue. So it wasn't bad. That was actually pretty good, and the crowd was pretty alive for most of the show. We get cheesy graphics, a newscaster voiceover. I don't know why that amused me. Gordon Solie on commentary, along with Mike Graham, who is the son of Eddie Graham. And unfortunately, Mike Graham's life would end the same way his dad's did, and I believe like 25 years later. Really, really eerie shit. Really sad. It's never the answer, guys. It's never the answer. Backstage guys like John Heath, who looked like Discount Pat Patterson, and Buddy Colt, who looks like a discount mobster, in a really cheesy movie. Yeah, they didn't really have very good personalities, and they were stumbling over a lot of shit that they said, especially Heath. Oh dear. And apparently Hurricane Elena had affected some talents being able to get there, like Rick Martel. He was unable to get there. He was the AWA champion at the time. Nick Bockwinkel had to face a substitute later. Many people lost their homes. Mike Graham talked about how he was more fortunate, like, some people lost their homes and everything, and there were still power issues. There was, like, lights flickering during this event. I mean, the show, it was shown on syndication later, like, it was obviously filmed live, because it would be hard to, film anything not live. But the whole point is you got to see this event in its entirety, even with the glitches and stuff like that. So, the first match was Hector and Chavo Guerrero versus Rip Oliver and the Grappler, who was Len Denton. And damn kids and their flippy shit. In all seriousness, the Guerreros did have a very good showing here. The crowd popped for them. The heels did some nice ground and pound. He's got two large, strong men that have him down. Well, Mike Graham, I know what he's thinking about. He's thinking about wrestling. Wrestling, you sick freaks. I run a clean show here. And then we get a long beatdown. I mean, a long beatdown on Hector. And Chavo keeps wanting to get the tag. Keeps wanting to get the tag. Eventually does. And breakdown at the end. Loaded boot ends up hitting Oliver because Grappler loads his boot, but oh no, he hits his partner, and then Hector covers 1, 2, 3. Then we got a guy named Coco Samoa and Mad Maxine. Boy, she was really tall. She didn't last very long in wrestling. Come out to Eye of the Tiger because Hulk Hogan no longer needed it because he was setting the world on fire in WWE. It was Coco Samoa and Mad Maxine versus Rip Rogers and Miss Brenda. I've never been the biggest fan of Rip Rogers because I really don't get why he's seen as such a big deal. Apparently he's trained people well. Great. He was never really all that much of anything to me whenever I saw him. The most famous thing he did was get tossed into the ring by Hawk at Battle Bowl 93. So I'd never seen Coco Samoa before, but he was impressive. Gordon Solie calls Maxine a big, well-proportioned lady. Okay, Gordon knows how to get down. Coco really had to work hard here to make this match work. I think this match could have been a couple of minutes less. The valets get in there, and Maxine pulls, Samoa, Samoa on top of Rip, 1, 2, 3. And then a guy named Jack Hart comes out to jump by Van Halen. No idea why. He is out there with Percy Pringle, the future Paul Bearer. And he took on Kendall Windham. This is for the Florida Heavyweight Championship. Could Kendall Windham become the youngest Florida Heavyweight Champion in history? Yes, he did. Boy, Kendall Windham was wiry at this point. I mean, he was wiry most of his career, but he was really wiry here. One line, Kendall has really been at a disadvantage. He's been on his knees, pounded down. All right, then. This is the precursor to Bob Caudle being perverted on commentary. We get rest holds and strikes. Kendall comes back, and the crowd fires up, and the loaded glove misses. Oh, no. Crossbody, 1, 2, 3. Bit of a weird edit, but Kendall got the victory. He's the youngest Florida heavyweight champion. He's so happy. Fine. It was what it was. I mean, it wasn't bad. I will say, as far as shows, as far as 2.5 hour big shows, this one went by pretty quick. And then John Heath interviews Harley Race on his match with the Road Warriors. He's going to be teaming with Hanson. Harley Race talks about, oh, well, we set the world on fire holding the tag championships in the AWA for 4 years along with Larry Hennig, and that they never lost them. Like, they never actually lost them. They just held on to them for 4 goddamn years. And Harley says, well, he wants another NWA title shot. He wants number 8, even though he already got number 8 in, I believe, March or April of 84, but they didn't recognize that. He is an 8-time world champion. But anyway, he cuts a pretty good promo, and then, oh yeah, by the way, the show is brought to you by, Champion TV and Appliance and Schlitz Malt Liquor. 7 months after Eddie Graham, how his life ended the way it did, knowing that he had massive alcoholism, you couldn't have found a different sponsor than Schlitz Malt Liquor. Whew. Anyway, Billy Jack Haynes comes out to Bonnie Tyler's Holding Out for a Hero. If there was ever a theme that didn't fit somebody, it was that. Seriously, I love Bonnie Tyler. That did not fit Billy Jack Haynes. And Sade's Smooth Operator was Rick Rude's theme. That sort of fits, just the title alone. Rick Rude had Percy Pringle with him, and Rick Rude took on Billy Jack Haynes. Battle of the mustachioed, bearded, jacked up dudes. Southern Heavyweight Championship, by the way, and Billy Jack, being thick and heavier. All right. Keep thinking about Bob Caudle's commentary. So, big power boys, you can see the thickness in Rude's forearms. My God. So, can Rude get out of Billy Jack's full Nelson? Can he resist it? Can he resist getting hit from behind? Yes, he can, actually. Percy kept trying to interfere. Rude worked on the back, and then later we get a distraction. Kane shot that was literally right by the ref. I don't know how the ref didn't see that. Not very good placement. And cover 1, 2, 3. Commentary then interviews footage. Oh, this will obviously be overturned. Maybe it will. I don't know, because I don't have the Florida TV access. Or nobody has uploaded that stuff. But anyway, Battle of the Belts 2 and 3, by the way, are also on YouTube, and I'll be retro-reviewing those. John Heath interviews Kendall. That was according to Gordon Soley. Boy, promos were not his thing, and I mean either of them. Kendall, though, to be fair, was in the very beginning of his career. And Heath stumbled over everything. I was really worried about him. And then Buddy Colt interviews Road Warriors. And while Colt wasn't very good either, these were not very good backstage interview guys. Was everybody else out on break and they were like, hey guys, put on suits and do something. Were they guests because they work, they've worked in local Florida sports? Genuine question. I don't know anything about, the Buddy Colt, the name sounds familiar. Coach Heath, I have no idea who he is. I don't know if he's a one-man band. He's just a one-man band. So Iron Maiden eventually plays for the Road Warriors to come to the ring, and they took on Harley Race and Stan Hansen. AWA tag title match. This was interesting. It was. I'm not actually joking, because it was cool to see Harley Race on the downside of his career, Hansen not giving a shit and beating the shit out of everybody. And actually shocked he didn't start beating the shit out of Harley Race. That would have been an interesting fight. Power for power. It ends in a double countout, the melee and everything. Road Warriors are upset, but it was a good way to do it. And hey, featured some star power. And Harley Race got to be on your show. And Harley Race could have probably punched everybody out at ringside and not flinched. So then Colt interviews Flair, and Flair says that he will, win the 2 out of 3 falls match against Wahoo. You say somebody can't beat you 2 straight falls? Oh ho ho, let me show you. Nick Bockwinkel took on Frankie Lane, AWA World Title match. Oh wait, no, Rick Martel wasn't there, so Nick Bockwinkel won in like 4 minutes. And then he no-sells a crossbody, by the way, and gets the victory. I don't know why that was funny. Wahoo McDaniel says that no man can beat him 2 straight falls. Naturally, this is telegraphing that somebody's going to beat Wahoo McDaniel 2 straight falls, and Wahoo had been, wrestling for a lot of years. I mean, he'd been a lot of years at this point, and all over. Ric Flair versus Wahoo McDaniel, 2 out of 3 falls match for the NWA title. Nearly 45 minutes. I think it was like 43:30. Boy, this was good. It was really good. It was cool to see it, even though Wahoo was like maybe a few years away from retiring full time. Rick was on the ascension, had been wrestling for about, just over a decade, and was just feeling himself. Wait, that's Lex Luger. He tended to do that a lot. Luger's actually on the Battle of the Belts 3 show that I'll be reviewing. But anyway, so Flair gets cut early on. Of course he does, and that, factors in a little bit later. Good psychology, as you would expect here. I'm not really going to go over too many spots with this, but Flair targets the arm. We get a sleeper hold. Flair goes out, and he gets covered for 3. And so it's 1-0 Wahoo. So naturally, again, telegraphing that Flair is going to beat him twice, because you're not going to have Wahoo McDaniel, even though he was legit tough at this point and had been legit tough for years and over. He was not going to win the NWA Championship. But they were going to find a way to, spice it up, spice up the drama. Second fall, Flair targets the knee, figure 4 spots, and then he gets on the abdominal stretch. We get a ref bump. Wahoo has a backslide, but oh no count, and then goes outside into the post a few times. Flair covers him in the ring. 1, 2, 3, 1-1. Third fall doesn't take very long, about 3 minutes. Wahoo takes over, gets some chops, gets a sleeper again, and Flair walks up and gets, on Wahoo on his back, even though he's in the sleeper. 1, 2, 3. Wahoo gets pinned. So he looks like, he still looks dominant, but Flair got the victory, outsmarting him, retains the championship, and then Wahoo says, I'm down, but I'm not out yet. So pretty good addition overall. Pretty good addition, Battle of the Belts, and I can't wait to see what the other two are, but it's just really cool, even though this is at the end, again, the tail end of the Florida territory. Getting to see this stuff, really goddamn cool. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.